This is a tool that you are absolutely going to need if you're using command lines or running long-running services on a Linux desktop or any kind of remote server. It's called tmux. Now, the man page for tmux is just like all the other man pages. It's very difficult to parse. There's no clear examples of how to use it. But there's a lot of data, a lot of examples on Google. What I want to show you is just the simplest way that I use it. So first of all, tmux allows you to run a program in the background and detach it and come back later. It also allows you to split your screen up in one terminal. What I'll do first is go into a directory that I want to perform my work in, because every time I split the screen, I end up with that path. Now, if I was in my home directory, I'd have to cd into where I wanted to be, and quite often I want to run all these commands in the same area. This is what it looks like. You can tell you're in because you have this green bar at the bottom. You can create multiple panes. So this is 1, 2, 3, or you can split a pane. So we have like 2A and 2B. So quite often I'll log into a server or on my workstation, and I'll perform some work in one of those sessions. We can also list the sessions that we currently have and attach to a specific one. By number. This is one that I have a finger daemon running on. You can actually see the token of my tunnel. I probably shouldn't have shown you that. I'm going to have to rotate it. But I'm running this in the background, and it's a finger daemon exposed over a tunnel. Every time we invoke it with the finger command, we basically see the results. And I've split my screen up into 3 bits, vertically and horizontally, and so packing in as much as I can. Now I'm going to disconnect from that, and we can start a new one. Start session, and I'm going to name it Slicer. As you would have seen, my other sessions weren't actually named; they just had numbers. Now this is the thing, like these commands are quite hard to memorize. I don't always use the named sessions, but I'm going to today because this is the best way for you to identify. So now I have this command that is going to run a VM tool called Slicer. This is booting a Firecracker VM. It's just something that I want to do. I need to do this, and then I get an IP address printed back, and I want to log into that below. So let's clear off the old key first. This is exactly the kind of thing that you would use this for. And then we'll shell in, and I'm in this VM. It's very minimal. There's barely anything running within it. What it allows me to do is split my work up, and now I can leave this running permanently. I could be doing a kernel build. I could just be in the middle of my work. Control B and D detaches. Now if we go and list our sessions again, we can now actually see that the Slicer one has a name to it, and our finger one doesn't. So now I'm going to attach to Slicer, and we're back where we were. Now what if I wanted to do something else? So this VM, I'm shelled in. I've also got the logs of the daemon. I'm going to go Control B and C to get a new window. And now I've got the first one. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, there's a little star next to SSH. Control P or Control N takes you backwards and forwards between them. So Control P goes previous, and then Control N goes to the next. There's only 2, so it's looping around. Create a third, and then I can just go between each of them. To break the screen up horizontally is Control B and the double quote. And then to get rid of one of these panes, it's Control and D. Okay, and get rid of this window altogether. Again, Control D on the window, and now we're back to just SSH. So let's split into another window. Go to my temporary directory. I'm going to use a tool ketchup. install user Ubuntu. I'm going to install Kubernetes. Just make sure that I've got all of my parameters right. So this is logging in over SSH. It's going to install Kubernetes, start with systemd, get my kubeconfig file back, and then I'm going to copy and paste these commands in. Okay, and now I'm going to split the screen with a percentage. This is going to go almost like a vertical split. And then I can actually, if I want to, split each of these again, because remember the horizontal is a double quote, horizontal is a percentage. So what this could allow me to do, and I quite often use this with something like OpenFAS when I'm testing, is I want to maybe run Kubernetes get pod-a-watch up the top, and in the bottom I might use Arcade to install something like Grafana into the cluster. What's wrong with that? Let's try something else. Maybe we didn't. There might be something wrong with this cluster that I've just set up because I'm using a test image. But that's the key idea. Is okay. Yeah, I just had my context wrong. We are viewing what's happening in one window whilst running commands in another, and it's all within one terminal, or if you're on WSL, it's one WSL instance. And this is what tmux allows us to do. And now Control B previous window gets us back to where we have our SSH session, so we could do something like sudo journal cto key3s. And now we're following the logs of the K3s service. And up top, that watch, we can clear it, run it again. We see all those pods are executing. I can go run the commands, go deploy something into OpenFAS, etc., etc. Now I'm going to come out of there, and I'm just going to log out. I'm closing all my panes down, other than the slicer daemon that's running there, and Control B and D takes us out. Remember, we can then list our sessions. We can go and attach back to 9, which is that finger daemon. We can come out of that and go and attach into some of those other ones. I don't know what's in them. I can't remember. But if we always create these with a name, let's call that one K3S. My goodness, I'm going to have to actually do my history command because it's so hard to remember these. So new session K3S, great. And if we go back to our temp directory, we still have that kubeconfig. And then I can get my pods or nodes or whatever. Right, and now Control BD, I detach. A lot of this is a muscle memory. I don't tend to name my sessions, which is why I was making the mistakes and couldn't remember the command. And I shouldn't, right? I should be using names because it's much easier to see what you've got. Okay, and then again, attach to slicer. I'm going to Control C, come out of that, Control C my slicer. Daemon, my firecracker. VM's going to shut down safely. It's going to take a little bit of time because it's got K3s to do a safe shutdown on. So I'm just going to go Control B and D, get that out of my face, out of my terminal, and then I'm back to work and I can do whatever I want. Now again, as I say, if we go into a certain folder and run tmux there, anything that we clone is going to end up CD'd in there already. So that's quite a good productivity hack. If you want to know more about Slicer, you can find out on the internet. There's a lot of different documentation. AI models will probably be able to coach you on it. The key things are, you want to run something, server and status, for instance, run tmux, split the screen, log into a remote server, start up a program that you're not ready to daemonize and install in systemd yet, start an inlets tunnel, do something temporary, run it in the background for as long as you want, months, weeks, doesn't matter, and it's just a very convenient way of managing that. All right. Thanks for listening.